Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel Battleverse. Today we are diving deep into one of the most dramatic naval encounters in modern history, where the US Navy faced a sudden two-warship strike from China, only to turn the entire confrontation into a complete disaster for the attackers. What unfolded on the open seas was not only a display of raw power, but also of unmatched technology, strategy, and naval superiority that defines why the United States continues to be a formidable force on the oceans. In this review, we will be breaking down the confrontation by looking at the exterior of the ships, the interior setups, performance under combat, safety features that protect them, the unique selling points that make U.S. carriers unmatched, the enormous financial cost tied to them, and finally, a conclusion that sums up why this incident has changed the perception of naval dominance in the Pacific theater. Starting with the exterior, the American carrier in focus was a floating city of steel and firepower, bristling with radar systems, missile batteries, anti-aircraft defenses, and a flight deck capable of launching dozens of strike aircraft within minutes. The sleek yet rugged design of the hull is meant not only to withstand missile strikes, but also to provide stability in the most violent seas. On the other side, the two Chinese warships, modern frigates equipped with missiles and torpedoes, entered the scene aggressively, hoping to catch the American carrier off guard. But when you compare the sheer size, structural resilience, and advanced layering of the U.S. Navy's exterior design, it becomes clear why the American ship stood its ground so firmly. The carrier's deck, painted for flight operations and buzzing with constant activity, became the center of a counteroffensive that shattered the Chinese assault in minutes. When we move to the interior, it's like stepping into the nerve center of a war machine. Inside the American carrier, miles of corridors connect control rooms, living quarters, hangars, and operation centers. Hundreds of sailors, engineers, and pilots operate in perfect synchronization, each one trained for the smallest detail of war. The Combat Information Center, buried deep within the armored core of the ship, became the heart of the entire response. Massive digital screens tracked incoming missiles, radar operators monitored Chinese ship movements, and tactical officers issued rapid counterorders to neutralize the threat. The interior is a balance of military efficiency and resilience, designed so even under direct attack, command structures remain functional. Inside, pilots raced to their jets, engineers fueled aircraft with precision, and security teams ensured that damage control protocols were in place should any strike land on the carrier. Unlike the sleek interiors of Chinese warships, focused more on speed of deployment, the American design focuses on redundancy, survival, and overwhelming retaliatory capacity. Now, when we talk about performance, this battle tested everything. The Chinese warships launched a barrage of missiles, a show of aggression intended to cripple the carrier's defenses. But here, the performance of the U.S. Navy's Aegis combat system became the game changer. Within seconds, radar picked up the incoming projectiles, computers calculated interception vectors, and ship-based missile defense systems fired back with pinpoint precision. Explosions lit the sky as interceptor missiles destroyed the incoming strike, leaving the American carrier unharmed. At the same time, carrier-based aircraft scrambled into the air, F-35s and F/A-18 Super Hornets soaring at incredible speeds to target the attackers. Within minutes, the performance gap was undeniable. The Chinese ships, limited by their smaller missile capacity and less advanced radar jamming technology, found themselves overwhelmed by waves of counterstrikes from air and sea. In naval warfare, performance isn't just about raw firepower. It's about sustainability under pressure. And the U.S. carrier proved it could not only withstand but also retaliate with devastating force. Safety features played a silent but vital role in this confrontation. The carrier is equipped with multiple layers of protection, hardened bulkheads, fire suppression systems, watertight compartments, and reinforced hull plating that can absorb massive impacts. Crew safety protocols ensure that even if one section of the ship is damaged, others can continue functioning without collapse. The Chinese ships, though modern, lack the same level of redundancy and layered safety features. As the counterstrikes hit, explosions rocked their decks and the structural failures mounted quickly. The difference became clear. While the U.S. Navy prepares for the worst and builds ships that can fight even while damaged, The attackers were not designed to endure prolonged punishment. This emphasis on survival is one of the greatest advantages of American naval engineering. The unique selling points of the U.S. Navy's carriers were on full display. First, their unmatched air power projection. Dozens of fighters launched rapidly to dominate the skies and neutralize enemy ships. Second, their advanced defense grid, where radar, interceptors, and electronic countermeasures worked seamlessly to nullify missile threats. Third, their psychological dominance. The sight of a U.S. carrier is not just a tactical presence, but a global statement of power. In this encounter, all three selling points combined into a devastating counterattack that left the two Chinese warships crippled and retreating. The ability to launch simultaneous counterstrikes from air and sea is something no other navy in the world can replicate with the same efficiency. When it comes to price, this power comes at a staggering cost. An American carrier strike group costs billions of dollars to build and billions more each year to maintain. The ship itself is a multi-billion-dollar investment, with each aircraft on board valued at tens of millions. Critics often argue about the enormous expense, but this battle demonstrates why such investments remain crucial. Against two warships that cost a fraction of that amount, the U.S. Navy showcased dominance that cannot be measured in dollars alone. The price is not just in steel and weapons. It is in the assurance that American power can project across oceans, defend allies, and neutralize threats before they escalate into global conflicts. In conclusion, the confrontation between the U.S. Navy and the Chinese two-warship attack proved that naval dominance is not about numbers but about superiority in technology, training, resilience, and projection of power. The American carrier turned what could have been a serious threat into a humiliating disaster for the attackers. From its intimidating exterior to its resilient interior, from unmatched performance to superior safety, from unique selling points that no rival can replicate to the enormous yet justified price, this encounter demonstrates why the U.S. Navy remains the undisputed guardian of the seas. As China pushes to expand its naval footprint, battles like these serve as reminders that sheer ambition cannot overcome decades of experience, engineering, and strategy. The disaster that unfolded for the attackers was not just a single battle lost. It was a signal to the world that the balance of naval power still rests firmly in American hands.